Hello and welcome to our latest video. We're so glad that you're here. Today we'll be talking about spreading the word about the little season. We're intentionally not getting deeply into the details, but focusing on how to effectively talk with others about it at a basic introductory level. Handling these basics will be plenty of work for most people. Most of the people in the churches that we attend or that we're going to be interacting with will be premillennial. Many of those will be more or less dispensational. So for simplicity's sake, we will just use the phrase premill to cover both of these outlooks. What we're trying to do is to recognize that most people don't feel as though they can teach. Most people don't have a lot of confidence in being to explain prophetic insights or new teachings. We're going to offer a basic outline and suggestions for how to share this, providing a fairly simple approach to understanding and sharing little season essentials with people who have different beliefs. Take what we're giving you and adapt it to your own situation. It's all there for you. You can do whatever you want with it. Now, starting off, we're not saying that we're got a different gospel, new theology, a new way of understanding what it means to follow Jesus. We are merely laying out a different understanding of the prophecies that are being fulfilled now and that have been fulfilled before. We're proposing that we are on a different spot in the prophetic timeline, and that's all. We are not proposing a different gospel. We're not criticizing other believers or churches, but we are witnessing to our own experience. This follows a respected principle of outreach that most of the time you want to give your message, your insights, and you don't want to be coming across as feeling arrogant, sounding arrogant or critical of others or their churches. You want to give people a space where they can relax and listen and not be on the defensive. Recall John chapter 9, where the blind man talked about his experience of being healed by Christ. And though he was aggressively questioned by religious leaders, he didn't feel compelled to come up with answers to all the questions. He witnessed his experience with Christ and how it affected him. We're not functioning as though we are anointed teachers or spiritual leaders. We're ordinary people who are sharing something that we've come across that's been helpful for us, helped others, and this follows the practice of many of the creators of videos, most of whom don't come from traditional ministry circles. They're ordinary people who've gotten interested in this and felt like they needed to share it. We're not preterists, and although the Little Season Outlook utilizes some interpretive insights from biblical or partial preterism, we are not preterists and we are not comfortable being grouped with them in discussions. In some venues, saying that you believe the Olivet Discourse and most of Revelation were fulfilled in the first century, some people are going to say, ha, preterist, I knew it. That's not who we are. In those cases, people are going to feel as though you are very suspect, could be heretical, but look, we are not preterists. We are utilizing some interpretive insights, but that is all. You might also hear somewhere along the way that preterism originated with the Jesuits. This is not the case. While Jesuit writers were influential in the 16th century, systematizing preterism, the basic insights of this interpretive outlook had been advanced by a long train of writers in many different streams and multiple time periods. Don't feel like you need to be able to answer every question or answer every objection. It's helpful to let good videos do what they do best, which is bringing clear teachings from people who studied this stuff in depth. It's wise to be familiar with the basics of pre-mill doctrine, since this will be the basic outlook of most people you talk with. It can actually help things become a little clearer in your mind because you'll understand the contrasts a little better. Be very familiar with Matthew 24 and Revelation 20. This is the foundation. Read them over and over, study them. You don't need to memorize things. You don't have to have chapter and verse in your mind, but it's important to be able to refer to the basics and the narrative that they see in a clear and helpful way. This is very important. It's good to have familiarity with Revelation 6 through 19, at least that the primary application of these scenes is first century Jerusalem and Rome, not to a future time that has not yet arrived. As we'll lay out later on, these chapters are best understood as referring to the judgment of Jerusalem and the religious establishment that killed the prophets, killed the Messiah, and stirred up the Romans to act against the early church. It's also good to read Matthew 23 because it sets the stage and it gives you an insight into the mind of Christ. Emphasize that this is a very new movement. Our understanding of certain scriptures and doctrinal issues is still under development. That's okay. In general, the content creators in this movement will freely admit that not everything is worked out. Things are still under development. It's not a problem. Don't be surprised if people get a little emotional, even though you're not threatening or criticizing them or their church, and you're just sharing some new teachers. Some people get very uneasy and sometimes emotional as they are faced with a different outlook. Just be aware that this may happen. Don't feel as though you need to get into teaching mode and answer everything. Let the videos do the heavy lifting. Just say that this outlook makes sense to you once you study it in depth and that looks and feels solid in a way that other teachings never have. Choose a few scriptures that seem to speak to you most deeply. A good list can be found in the little book, The Return of Jesus. It's available on Amazon for $5. A lot of good verses, a lot of good stuff in there. Use it. That's what it's there for. It's also good to have a few extra copies to give away. Be ready to share links to videos or web pages that you think are helpful, emphasizing that it takes time for this stuff to really feel natural. Now, the basics, we're going to boil it down to 3 points. Number 1, we think that most of Matthew 24 and Revelation 6 through 19 were fulfilled in the first century. This is based on the many sayings of Christ and the New Testament writers to the effect that Christ's prophecies of judgment and the New Testament writers' reminders of, hey, there's not much time left, it's coming soon, they refer to a point in the first century where they expected the fulfillment to be happening within their lifetimes, rather than to some distant future. This is important. It's the most natural way to understand these passages. The judgment of Babylon in Revelation 18 represents judgment on Jerusalem and the apostate religious system that had killed the prophets, killed the Christ, and stirred up the Romans to persecute the early church. The beast represents the Roman Empire. Number 2, we think that Christ returned after Jerusalem's fall around AD 70 and that the millennial reign started around that time. It took place through much of the Middle Ages, with the little season beginning somewhere in the 18th or 19th century. While the standard historical sources don't give much to work with to support this outlook, we think that it's likely that various parts of the historical record have been largely lost, misunderstood, or possibly even covered up. Modern academic studies have come along to support this outlook, particularly those of Gunnar Heinze, the guy in the lower right-hand corner of the video here. We're going to put a link to his video. One thing we found is that even scholars, they are people like us, that they are not immune from allowing their opinions or the opinions of others to take them beyond what the facts will support or to minimize facts that don't fit the narrative. Number 3, we believe that we are in a season of intense worldwide deception and mobilization of satanic forces for a last climactic battle against the people of God and the Lord's plan for the new heavens and new earth. We feel that this little season started around the 17 or 1800s and it continues to this day. We will see ever increasing deception and attacks against the church and the people of God, until God decides the season is over and he will wrap things up. We think that the millennial reign ended and the little season likely started somewhere in the 17 or 1800s. Now, this time period also saw The destructive influences of the Enlightenment, evolution, scientific ideas that denied God, the rise of secret societies, and the rapid growth of theologies that eroded faith in the Bible. Since a key component of Little Season is worldwide deception, we think that this overlap is very, very telling. Now, things to emphasize. Whether we and our friends or our family members agree on this or that point of prophetic timeline or eschatology, we are brothers and sisters. We have Christ and the gospel in common. We are not heretics or spreaders of dangerous teaching, but brothers and sisters who have a different outlook about biblical prophecy. This has always been the case. There have been doctrinal differences in the church since the first century. The early church fathers disagreed on much of biblical prophecy and the timing of various sayings of Christ and Revelation. You can go back and read it if you want. Now, there are many evangelicals in the Presbyterian, Reformed, Church of Christ, Baptist, and non-denominational churches who believe and teach in a first century fulfillment of the Olivet Discourse and Revelation 6 through 19. This is not widely known, but it is quite true. This outlook has been taught very widely since at least the Reformation, and it has been recognized as a valid teaching since that time. Not a heresy, not a false teaching. But most people are very, very unaware of this because they know what their churches and their leaders have told them and are generally not well schooled in alternative outlooks on eschatology. We've gone through all of these outlooks, read the major writers, read the commentaries on Revelation. This stuff that we're telling you is real. We are brothers and sisters, and differences in prophetic timelines and eschatology, these have been taught for hundreds of years and have been recognized during that time as legitimate differences of opinion, not heresies. It's a good idea to keep things simple, give somebody a few thoughts to deal with and look into. There will be time for deeper and more detailed discussions later on if the Lord brings it about. It's better to leave people wanting more than to overwhelm them with too many new thoughts or ideas. Now, a few concluding thoughts. As we said, we're giving you a simple outline and some basic guidelines, drawing from our own ministry experience of training ministry workers. After you've gone through the video, maybe watch it again. Maybe take notes, adapt it to your own situation and your own giftings. Share it with others. We think that this video contains important principles that can help this message spread more widely. We're looking for people, when we're going to share about this, looking for people we know who are open to discussion and study. We don't want to try to persuade people who are firmly opposed. It's generally a waste of time. God has been speaking to a lot of people who have never really bought into the pre-mill outlook, but they've never come up with anything else that makes enough sense. So we need to be on the lookout and be ready to recognize them and graciously, humbly try to share this with them and see what happens. Let God take care of it. If an argument appears to be coming, suggest that they read the book we mentioned or look at a video. Arguments are never going to be fruitful. It takes most people a period of days, weeks, or months of serious and open-minded study to be ready to entertain a new viewpoint like this. It was certainly the case with us. Give people time. And pray, 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 and pray. We don't fight against flesh and blood, and we're certainly not fighting against people or their opinions. So, pray that God will give you a peaceful discussion and open-minded dialogue with people who will be open and are interested in entertaining another perspective. So if you have questions, please email us at exploringlittleseason@gmail.com. Check the links and the notes below the video. If you'd like to get a PDF of the script of this video, just send us an email. If you want to get a script of our other videos, send us an email. We'll happily send it to you in PDF. And please like, share, and subscribe. We want to see this go far and wide. People are looking for help. We're putting this out there for people to be able to understand the little season outlook a little more deeply, a little more thoroughly, and be able to talk to others about it so that this thing can start getting some legs and going into different places. We're doing this for the community, so spread it around, send it to people, ask us for the PDF, adapt it to your own situation, and see what happens. God is awesome, and He's interested in getting things out there. So until then, God bless you till next time.